The first instance when we see a human being called a pharaoh is with the ruler Akhenaten, okay, which is during the 18th dynasty. Joseph lived in the 12th dynasty, which would be considered the second or middle intermediate period, okay. Moses lives in the new dynasty, the new kingdom, which is the 18th dynasty. When you go to chapter 12 of the Quran, where the story of Joseph is, not a single time is the ruler, as it pertains to Joseph's time period, referred to as pharaoh. He is only ever referred to as a king. King was what was actually used in his time period. Pharaoh is what was used in Moses' time period. But
That
now,
makes sense.
the comparison
Go
would
on.
be, why does the Quran get it right if it's the case it's copying these scriptures when this information was something which was inaccessible up until the 18th century AD, right? Nobody knew how to encrypt or decrypt the hieroglyphics up until the 18th century or even 19th century almost.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good point. Like I said, it's something I'm gonna have to look more into.
This is very clearly a historical inaccuracy that's being stated here, where the Quran now corrects it.
That makes sense.
This Muslim argues that the Torah is historically unreliable, for it attributes the Egyptian ruler during the time of Joseph the title Pharaoh, a term which was not in use during this period. Yet by the very same standard and metric she applies, her own book would too be in error and historically false, for as she admits, the Quran repeatedly refers to the ruler in the time of Joseph as a king, a title which was neither in existence during the rule of the Hyksos. Regarding the Torah, this is no error at all. It is entirely natural for a narrator to employ terminology familiar to his audience when recounting historical events, just as one would naturally refer to a Mesopotamian ruler as a king, rather than by his historical title, Sharu, or to a Roman ruler as emperor, instead of his original title, Rex. Thus Moses employed terminology familiar and conventional with his generation, referring to the Egyptian ruler in the time of Joseph as Pharaoh, rather than by his historical title, Nesobiti, which was the standard terminology used for the leader during the reign of the Hyksos. This stylistic device only lends credibility to the case of Mosaic authorship, for the title Pharaoh would naturally be the conventional term familiar with 13th century BCE Israelites. Thus, if this Muslim wishes to deem the Torah as historically inaccurate for employing terminology conventional to the time of Moses and his audience, she should disassociate herself from the Quran, for it too would be faulty under the same measure, as it too adopts modern convention, rather than authentic Egyptian terminology. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.